It doesn't matter what it is I'm painting, pretty much, as long as I'm painting. If I see a subject that I think could make a nice painting, I'm glad I'm able to take and do that in whatever medium I think will enhance it. That's why I paint everything, so many different things. When I'm painting a scene, there's got to be something more than just a scene. You know, there's got to be an animal walking through, or a person in it, or something like that. I think of all my paintings that I'm doing. While I'm doing them, I think of them as a real place, even if they aren't quite real. I think of them as a real place.
Roadkill is the brainchild of two local men, and as Susan Little reports tonight, the two are beginning to connect with funny bones across the country.
Here, Harold, what do you think of these ones here?
Peter Beggs and Harold Burton are a team. Together, they create the Roadkill cartoon. It's Peter's bright idea.
My wife actually said to me, she says, I was looking for a cartoonist or someone to work with, and she says, why don't you ask someone like Harold Burton? And I said, are you nuts? I said, he's one of the best artists, in my opinion, in Canada. And I said, he'd never do something like this. And then he came into the shop and says, let's do this.
This is one of the first ideas Peter gave me to draw. And as you can see, it's a raccoon vocational school. And this little raccoon is saying, when I grow up, I'm going to be a speed bump.
I think, yeah, right, people would think, why don't you get a job, you know? It wasn't a job, it was a hobby. One of my first jobs working for a sign company was to go out and paint a big wall of Coca-Cola. You put this pattern on the wall, and some of them are pretty big, and you didn't have to have it in town for that. And I got so I could do it fairly quickly. If I had a sign to do, before I could do this piece of artwork, I'd have to get the sign finished. It got to the point that, okay, fine, I'm not going to do the sign first, I'll do the painting first, you know. But it's hard too, because you got to go look for art. Isn't there looking for you? You have to go look for a customer, you know. So we went to a lot of shows. One year we did 30 shows. And even the shows, you might go to one and not even sell anything. So that's hard to take. So, you know, 'cause you have a lot of expenses. So it was like that for quite a while.
Growing up with an artist for a dad seemed normal to me, seemed average, until I got older. And then I appreciated it more. He was always painting in the house and creating something, and the smell of paint is a real home smell to me. And to this day, I still love the smell of oil paints and that kind of thing. When I was 8 years old, I helped my dad work on an animated film that he was doing. He did all the painted cells. He had a long roll of paper that was the background that moved as you put each cell down and you would move it. And my job with him was to click the camera for each cell as he put them down. And I always thought it was such a big deal because I thought we're doing something like Walt Disney does.
Usually it starts out with an idea. My one Morgan's was part of a store I found out in the country. It wasn't a store anymore. It had been changed back to a house. I put the gas station out there. I just took all these pieces and put them together in a sketch, a drawing form. And it's kind of like you. We gather up all the people together and put them in there, and it's got to be a little story involved. December 19th, I guess it was. And I was shoveling snow out, and I come in the house and I was all right. I just felt thirsty and I was needed a drink, and I was asking, I was talking to my wife, and she says I wasn't making sense. And she says, you're going to have to go to the hospital. And I didn't realize I wasn't making sense. And then the next thing I remember is waking up in the hospital, and it had been kind of over, I guess. I remember I was a little bit fuzzy. I couldn't quite get everything together. And I was laying there and listening to what's going on around me. Yeah, I was confused. But I felt confident. I don't know why. Ever since I woke up, well, I was going to get over it. I felt confident. I don't know why. I was going to get over it, and I did get over it. I thought about maybe losing my ability to do things, but I'll have to maybe change my style. Maybe I'll have to do some wild abstract stuff because I won't be able to control myself, my hands, you know. It was kind of scribbling. And kind of scribbling, I found I could make an image with scribbling. I know the first one of the ladies was an acrylic, and I got a little loose with it. And I did things that I wouldn't normally do. You normally, when you do a painting, you got to have a vanishing point. You know, there's one vanishing point. But when I did these ladies, there's 3 or 4 different vanishing points. So the perspective is 3 or 4 different perspectives put together. So that kind of breaks the rule to put them together. Maybe people don't notice, but when you look at it, things are always changing in there, you know. So you're breaking the rules, and I find, well, I'm going to tell the story by breaking the rules, and that's the story, I guess.
He came to me and he asked me if I knew someone because he had this idea for a children's book. And he brought this little Freddy farmer character he had made out of clay, and it looked really cool, and he showed it to me, and he had done a few sketches. And he told me he had this idea of a young boy who ran his own farm. There were no adults, and it was just him and the animals. But he needed somebody to help him with a story.
Well, it started with that painting I have on the wall, which is done, I think, in about 72. And over the years, I every now and again will pull them out and do a few sketches of them.
But it was so much fun working with Harold because he's so talented. And I've done some other projects over the years, and I just love working with talented artists.
Since I had the stroke, I couldn't draw him very well. And I thought, well, that's the end of him. But I kept working at it, and yeah, I could do him. The third book, I found I could draw or make these lines better with the brush. And I remember when I first did one, I even giggled to myself. Really, honestly, it felt real good. I could do that.
Well, one of the really fun things that happened to us this year with the book was that, well, we got published in a Chinese children's magazine. It's a Chinese publication in Shanghai. Circulation is about 80,000 people. For any author, that's really a thrill when, you know, something like that happens.
Dad and I just finished working on a mural that is going to be put up in Wheatley, Ontario. We have done the same mural in 1996, and it had deteriorated, so now we had redone it, and we worked on it together. My dad's 85, and this is likely his last mural he'll ever do, and that I was a part of it again. I can certainly cherish that because I'm paying more attention to hanging out with my dad, and it becomes more important. My dad's skill and where that may come from, I think, is mostly his deep desire to do what he does. I don't think he can do anything else, not because he can't, because he doesn't want to. It's something he has to do, and I think that's what makes him an artist, is not all artists feel like they have to do it, but he does. It's very important to him, and I think it's what he's made to do.
Even when I was younger, I figure if it's a painting or a drawing, I could do it. I mean, I just figure, and I know there's a lot of kids today, they can draw. But there's another step to drawing. There's color, you know, there's composition. There's all types of things like that that go together. I've been critical of what I do ever since I've been painting. Even in my cartooning, the same thing. It's got to be composition right, it's got to work right, it's got to be a style. I work it into a style, you know. Everything to do with painting is related. Some people can't paint animals, some people can't paint faces. Well, you're not a painter. You can't do it all. So I don't know, that's just always working for the best, trying for the best. Seem to be open. Yeah, well, Mary Lou was a great help to me because she did a lot of things. I mean, not just a wife and a mother. She did a lot of different things. Because even when I was doing the painting, she was doing some framing. She would cut mats and stuff like that. And she went to some of the shows with me too. And it all helps. Her ideas were good, like for how to market something were good. And yeah, she was a real help. More than just a mother and housewife. You gotta have some, it's either be a friend but the wife is the best one, you know.
You need a partner.
You need a partner, yeah, I think so. So, yeah, she's been real help, and still is. I'm an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. That stroke I had kind of slowed me up. But I knew it wasn't going to stop my painting. I'd be painting if it was an abstract I had to do. I would get into that type of thing. So I did change my painting a bit. I did those ladies a bit different because I never painted like that before. But that got me into a different look. Yeah, and I'm getting back to now I can pretty much do what I did earlier. I would like to do some abstract, but people would look at it and say, well, that's not you. So it wouldn't be me. But I could do it. I need a reason to do it now. So I may have to, well, you know, when I don't want to paint realism, I may get into abstract, yeah.
Yeah, I consider my dad to be one of the most successful people I know. And it's not that he had a lot of money or that he had a lot of material things per se, but he got to do what he loved to do, and not everybody gets that chance. It's like God has made you this way, this is what you're meant to do. It's just having that kind of faith, and that's probably the biggest lesson my dad's taught me. It's like a tonic. You need it, you know. What if all my stuff was taken away from me, my drawing, and I couldn't do it anymore? That would be devastating. I might as well die, you know. It's an addiction or something, I don't know. I thought if I ever lost that skill, I would try modeling, you know, molding things and sculpturing. But I still need this artistic part of it, you know. Yeah. That's about the answer. You have to because you have to. One time my dad, he built a hang glider because he's always had a fascination with flying. And he built it in the upstairs of his studio, and which was just a barn at the time. He built it and then had the neighbors tow him up from their pickup, which All us neighbor kids got in the back of the pickup, went to the back lane. It's about a mile long, and Dad's running with the hang glider, and us kids were in the back, watching Dad, try to get up in the air, and it was so funny because he yelled something, and he said, and we thought he was saying go faster. What he was really trying to say was stop for a minute, and he ended up breaking his wing, and he had to fix it, but he did get up.